NASCAR has raced on some truly unique tracks in its past, each offering its own challenges and unforgettable moments, from the high speeds of Texas World Speedway to the tight turns of Nazareth. These tracks have pushed the drivers to their limits and left a lasting mark on the sport. Unlike the traditional oval or tri-oval tracks used in NASCAR, Nazareth Speedway had a unique, asymmetrical layout. It was a 1-mile tri-oval, but it wasn't perfectly shaped like many modern tracks. Its almost egg-shaped design made it a challenge for drivers to navigate with different turns and radii on various parts of the track. Nazareth's surface was known for being rough and abrasive, which led to heavy tire wear. Managing tires and speed were crucial parts of the race strategy. The worn-out surface rewarded drivers who could conserve tires while still maintaining speed, leading to exciting strategy plays during races. The track's corners were tighter than those at most larger NASCAR venues, and because of the track's asymmetrical layout, each corner had a different feel. Drivers needed to adjust their approach to each turn, making it more technical than standard ovals, where turns are more uniform. This created a mix of challenges for drivers, forcing them to balance speed with precision. This track was located near the hometown of the Andretti family, one of Motorsports' most famous names. Mario Andretti, his son Michael, and other members of the Andretti family had strong ties to this track. This gave the Speedway a special significance in the racing world, particular for open-wheel fans, but also NASCAR fans. Nazareth Speedway was a key NASCAR track in the northeastern United States, an area not traditionally known for stock car racing. Its location allowed NASCAR to expand its reach beyond its southern roots and bring races to new audiences, especially during the rise of the Busch Series in the 1990s. This track was closed after the 2004 season, and although the track no longer operates, it remains a fan favorite due to its unique design, challenging layout, and connection to the Andretti family. Its distinct character, both in terms of layout and historical significance, made it one of NASCAR's most memorable and unique tracks, and to this day, fans are still trying to get the track to be revived, although it's a little too late as the track is completely gone. Memphis Motorsports Park was a 3/4 mile flat oval. Unlike high bank tracks where drivers can maintain higher speeds through the corners, the flat banking at Memphis required a more technical driving style, forcing drivers to brake harder and make tighter turns. This created slower and more strategic racing with frequent side-by-side battles, especially on the restarts. The track's tight, flat corners were particularly challenging as drivers had to balance the speed and control of the car while also managing tire wear on long runs. It rewarded those who can handle short track style racing with finesse. Memphis had an abrasive surface that contributed to significant tire wear, requiring drivers and teams to manage their tires carefully throughout the race. This feature gave the track a reputation for demanding tire conservation strategies, much like older tracks such as Rockingham and Darlington. The rough surface led to frequent pit stops, with teams needing to plan when to change tires to balance the speed with the long-term strategy of the race. The challenge of managing tire wear made Memphis an exciting track for fans who enjoyed strategic racing. This track was never part of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, but it played a crucial role in developing future NASCAR stars. The track hosted many NASCAR Truck Series and Xfinity Series races where up-and-coming drivers had a chance to prove themselves. Memphis Motorsports Park provided a key venue for NASCAR in the Mid-South, where the sport traditionally didn't have much of a presence. This gave fans in Tennessee, Mississippi, and even Arkansas easier access to live NASCAR racing. The track helped NASCAR expand into new markets and introduce the sport to fans in an important but less frequently served region of the United States. Ontario Motor Speedway, often called the Indianapolis of the West, was a unique and ambitious track in NASCAR. Ontario Motor Speedway was designed to be almost a mirror image of the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It featured the same rectangular shape with long straightaways and 9-degree bank turns, aiming to replicate the racing style at Indianapolis. This gave it an immediate appeal to fans and drivers familiar with what Indianapolis was. The idea was to create a West Coast version of Indianapolis, which would host a wide variety of racing events including NASCAR, IndyCar, and even Formula One, thus expanding motorsports in the western United States. When it opened in 1970, this speedway was one of the most advanced racing facilities of its time. It was built with modern infrastructure, including expensive grandstands that can hold over 150,000 spectators. The track boasted luxurious suites and excellent spectator views, which was cutting edge for a racing venue at the time. This track was part of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule from 1971 to 1980. It hosted major races and attracted top talent in the sport. Ontario Motor Speedway was a key part of NASCAR's efforts to expand its audience to the West Coast. Located in Southern California near Los Angeles, it brought big-time stock car racing to one of the largest markets in the United States, helping to introduce NASCAR to a more diverse fan base. Despite its state-of-the-art design and prime location, Ontario Motor Speedway struggled financially. The cost of maintaining such an advanced facility, coupled with competition from nearby tracks like Riverside, led to its closure in 1980, just 10 years after it opened. Ontario Motor Speedway is often remembered as one of the most ambitious and ahead of its time motorsports venues. Its attempt to be the West Coast equivalent of Indianapolis helped it stand out, and it remains a symbol of an era when racing promoters were thinking big and trying to take motorsports to new heights. Walt Disney World Speedway was a unique NASCAR track for several reasons. One of the most distinct aspects of Walt Disney World Speedway was its location within the world-famous Walt Disney World Resort in Bay Lake, Florida. Racing in such close proximity to the Magic Kingdom and other Disney attractions made it stand out among NASCAR tracks. It wasn't just a racetrack, it was part of one of the most famous entertainment destinations in the world. The track capitalized on Disney's global audience, introducing motorsports to families and tourists who may not have been traditional racing fans. This made it a unique crossover between the entertainment and motorsports industries. The track hosted NASCAR Truck Series races in 1997 and 1998, bringing competitive racing to Disney's world of entertainment. These were shorter, action-packed races typical of the Truck Series format. The 1-mile track featured a tri-oval layout with 3 distinct turns, similar to larger tracks like Pocono Raceway, but on a smaller scale. The configuration made for an interesting mix of fast straightaways and tighter turns, requiring drivers to adjust their approach to each section. The turns had relatively flat banking compared to other NASCAR tracks on the schedule at the time. This gave the track more of a technical handling-oriented feel rather than high speed. Another unique and fun aspect of this racetrack was in the infield, where there was a body of water that was shaped like Mickey's ears. Instead of this track hosting full NASCAR Cup Series races, Walt Disney World Speedway became famous for offering experiences like the Richard Petty driving experience, where visitors could drive or ride in a NASCAR-style stock car. After years of serving as both a racing venue and a tourist experience hub, the track was closed in 2015 to make way for transportation and parking expansions at the resort. The track was dismantled and the space is now used for logistical purposes in the Disney World complex. Texas World Speedway was a unique NASCAR track for several reasons, standing out among other tracks due to its high speeds, distinctive layout, and the historical context surrounding it. Texas World Speedway was a 2-mile oval, making it one of the few NASCAR tracks of that length, similar to Michigan and Auto Club Speedway. Known for its extremely high speeds due to its length and wide layout, the track featured high bank turns, 22 degrees in the corners, allowing cars to maintain high speeds throughout each lap. This made it one of the fastest tracks in NASCAR during its time on the schedule. One of the defining characteristics of this racetrack was its rough and bumpy surface. Over time, the track's asphalt became worn, creating a very bumpy ride for drivers. This added an extra challenge as cars needed to be set up to handle the surface while maintaining speed. The rough surface also contributed to significant tire wear, which became a critical factor in these races. Managing tires and pit strategy became essential at this racetrack as cars would lose grip quickly, making it a track that rewarded both driver skill and team strategy. While its sister track Michigan became a staple on the NASCAR schedule, this racetrack faded out of prominence, making it a lesser known but equally challenging and fast racetrack. Texas World Speedway was one of the early efforts to bring NASCAR to Texas, a state that has since become a major part of this sports landscape with the addition of Texas Motor Speedway, as well as the recent addition of the Circuit of the Americas. Texas World Speedway hosted the NASCAR Cup Series from 1969 to 1981. Although it was not a long-standing venue on the schedule, it played an important role during NASCAR's expansion years. Despite its initial popularity and unique characteristics, Texas World Speedway struggled to maintain a spot on the NASCAR schedule. The track fell out of favor in the 1980s, largely due to its remote location in College Station, Texas. Outdated facilities and the rise of more modern racing venues also contributed. The track closed for major racing events in the late 1980s, although it continued to host smaller regional races and driving schools for several years. It was finally closed for good in 2017, with plans to redevelop the land for housing and commercial purposes. Despite its high-speed potential, Texas World Speedway never became as famous as Daytona, Talladega, or even Michigan, making it something of a hidden gem in NASCAR history. These unique tracks have left an unforgettable mark on NASCAR's history. Each one brought something special to the sport, and their legacies still live on to this day. Which one did you find the most interesting? Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.